We're casting our lines into the world of paddle fishing, where we can explore various hotspots across the state, share insider tips and strategies to increase your chance of landing a big one,
along with necessary equipment and safety measures to prepare you for your next paddle fishing adventure on the Texas Insider Fishing Report, which starts now.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. Presented by Yamaha.
Welcome to the Texas Insider Fishing Report. This week, we're hearing from our captains with the same great reports, but we're also talking about catching fish from anything with a paddle, kayak, canoe, paddleboard, you name it. Right, Rick?
You're absolutely right, Brie. You know, I love this show because this is the show dedicated to the guy who doesn't have a boat, but still has the ability to get out on the water, make sure he can stay real stealthy. That's the part that I love about paddle fishing.
Definitely a pro.
Sneaky sneak.
Sneaky sneaky. All right, plus it's Labor Day weekend, so we've got a lot to talk about to get you ready. But before we get to our first captain, let's get a peek at the workbench because Dave has our friend over there helping out today. Dave?
I do. I have the keen kayaker, Colin Bukowski, here.
Thank you.
And he's going to tell us a little bit about how to attack the surf.
Go beyond the breakers.
Yeah, getting out there and catching some of the big fish in a kayak.
Sounds cool.
I love it. The keen kayaker and the workbench wonder. What a duo. All right, let's start our paddle sesh in the Fish Bites Middle Coast region with Captain Bink Grimes, who says the upcoming season is a welcome one for our paddlers out there. Go for it, Bink.
It is. Our low tides this summer have made it tough for us to get to some spots by boat, but don't tell that to the canoers and kayakers. They've been paddling to those spots we can't get to in the back lakes and have all that water to themselves. You want to really see some cool things, be stealthy, paddle gently, and you might run into some of the largest trout and redfish of your life. This fall is the best time for paddlers. Those tides will swell and all those fish head to the back lake where paddlers play catch and release. And right now, there's a lot of kayakers and canoers that are doing just what Colin's doing. Our surf is flat right now. They're going out past the second and third bars and throwing out big shark bait and big bull redfish baits out there, then coming back and setting the hook. So that's been a good thing here lately. We'll be fishing this weekend, but we'll also be dove hunting across the state. We're throwing topwaters early, then we're finding the sunflower field and busting the limit of white wings later. This time of year, we love to wade. Thankfully, all of our customers have chosen that route. It's been a good summer wading on that sand and mud and shell in East Matagorda Bay. Mid-Bay reefs and East Bay have turned on with light winds. Sheep pups, bass assassins, and soft dines have worked well around Half Moon, Three Beacon, and Long Reef. Drifters, they found good fish on shrimp tipped with fish bites under mid-coast corks. We've really been using those fish bites lately, and man, it's paid off. Boiler Bow, Raymond Shoals, and Oyster Farm have been good. Reefs in San Antonio Bay have been hot with light winds. Some are using live bait. Some are fishing on the edges of those reefs with sheep pups and she dogs. Wader closer to Cedar Bow found fish in the guts on soft plastics and corkies. Tides fell a bit, but then they came right back up in Rockport, and those folks are working the edge of the ICW on live shrimp. Our tides bulled up because of the storm in the Gulf right now, so we're catching the benefit of those tides. We haven't had good tides all summer long. The jetty at Port Aransas has been good for trout on finger mullet and freeline shrimp along the rock. Same holds true around Freeport, the Surfside and Quintana jetties, as well as the Port O'Connor jetty. That photo there, that's a big trout. They continue to dominate in East Matagorda Bay. Here's another one that was caught and released this week. And just take care of our trout, please. We've done a lot to bring it back since the freeze, and please take care of those big fish. In West Matagorda Bay, redfish, Brett Sweeney's been producing while anchoring over mud on the incoming tide. Guide Albert Garrison's reported good reds along the grass line on the north shoreline. Waders have found redfish in the morning down west on bass assassins up tight against the grass. There's a lot of shrimp up in the grass right now. Birds have worked over schooling redfish in East Matagorda Bay. Gold spoons and shrimp have worked best. Most of those reds are showing on the shorelines right now with the higher tides, really tight to the shorelines. The jetties turned on with good catches of redfish in Matagorda, Freeport, Port O'Connor, and Port Aransas. It's September. That's what they do. They're going to the Gulf to spawn, and there are some big ones there. Mullet, piggy perch, large table shrimp have worked along the rocks. There's redfish showing along the south shoreline of the Espiritu Santo Bay. With our bigger tides, back lakes and Port O'Connor have been giving up redfish on small topwaters. So we're going to go to red snapper now. At Freeport, guide Mike Siegel of Real Thrill Charter said red snapper continue to impress. That season runs through September 1st, which is Friday. And it was supposed to end on August 25th, but they gave us a few more days, and people are taking advantage of it. We've got seas in the 1 to 2 foot range right now, and the best fish are in that 80 to 100 foot of water. Guide Michael Becca still chasing swordfish and tilefish about 60 to 80 miles off. Really nice wahoo and dorado are also being found. Kingfish, amberjack, and tuna on overnight trips in Port Aransas has been good, and there's tarpon all along our beachfront from Galveston all the way to South Padre right now. I'm going to go chase some of those this weekend. So we ask you to have a safe Labor Day weekend. Enjoy Texas great fishing and dove hunting. Be wary of other boaters this week. Please treat our bays and beaches with the same respect you would your home. Please just catch and release. Give it a chance. It works. And please protect our trout.
All right, Bink, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the mirror lure hotspots from the Middle Coast region. Bink says the trout are good on the reefs in San Antonio Bay on live shrimp while waiting with bass assassins. The red fishing is good for waders in West Matagorda Bay on bass assassin sea shads as well.
Fish in the morning, doves in the afternoon. What a life. Must be September.
Cast and blast.
Cast and blast. Perfect. All right, now we're entering stealth mode in the Upper Fresh region with Mike McFarland, who has some tips for us non-boaters. Go for it, Mike.
Hey, Brie. Yeah, I do. Paddle fishing up here in the Upper Fresh region actually offers some really great experiences, kayaks, paddle boards, things like that. Most of the northern ends of our lake have some good shallow access for launching the boat or your kayak or whatnot. Excellent bass fishing, crappie fishing, brim fishing, and even cat fishing. For the bass, you want to look for the green vegetation. Find their lily pads, find hydraulic grass, or any type of green grass. Fish around those areas with courting bass lures. Crappie and brim, you're going to hit the shallow timber, anything lay down, trees in the water. And then for the catfish, look for the creek channel swings, the deeper swings, but definitely be in a little bit deeper water parts of the creek. All of those species of fish are readily available in the north ends of our lake. And your kayak and paddleboard fishing it's a really great way to access water and find uncharted areas that others cannot get to. Always want to remind you, make sure you wear your PFDs, keep safe. And in some of these lakes, watch for alligators. Let's say about bass fishing. Ray Hubbard, bass fishing there slowed down finally just a little bit. It was on fire, but the drop shot rigs and Texas rigs and some football jigs in green pumpkin and watermelon candy are still catching a few fish. And there's a little bit of a buzzbait bite in the early morning around the rocks. Jay Bonner says Lake Athens is doing pretty good. They're still schooling in the open water on the main lake. Topwater baits like the Berkeley Bullet Pop in shad colors are working great. You can also target the brush piles, humps, and grass lines with jigs, Texas rig worms, and shaky heads. I really like the Bass Assassin 7.5-inch half-out worm. Pewaukee, Matt Cartwright said the bass fishing picked up there. They've been actually had an 11-pounder and a 10-pounder. Captain, there's your 10-pounder. That was caught on the dam in 12 to 14 feet of water. Shaky head worms, big trick worms like the Bass Assassin 7.5 tap out, or even the big Bass Assassin 11-inch assassin worm. Lake Fork with me, Mike McFarland. It's slow still, but about ready to open up for the fall. Temperatures are upper 90s. Lake is 1.9 feet low. Fish are lethargic. Your best bet to fish at night and look for the green dock lights. Here's a tip. Find the bait fish that are on the green dock lights. If you see catfish and gar, keep looking. You will not see bass. If you see crappie, brim, or even white bass, stick around because the largemouths are going to come in like the United States Air Force. They're going to come in and it's going to be game on. Moving on to crappie. Lake Levon, good. Crappie are in 8 to 12 feet of water, stacked in submerged trees, 1/16-ounce jigs tipped with minnows. Lake Fork with Jackie Wiggins. Crappie there, he said it's still doing just fine. It's heated up once again this week, like the temperatures. 18 to 28 feet of water has been excellent. The trees seem to be a little different that you want to choose. So you want the bodarks. They're called a bodark tree. Fish the bodark trees, and really your best bet is to still use live minnows. They will eat a few of the artificial stuff, but you're catching better on live minnows. There's a couple great picks with Jackie Wiggins.
Nice. All right, what else you got?
Stripers and white bass. Lake Levon. Kerry Thorne says the bass are in about 7 to 15 feet on the flats and ledges. main lake points and the end of boat ramps. The sand bass there are hunting the shad, as the shad are using the ramps as structure. 1 ounce slab spoons, those are your best bet. If you see the fish surface, throw 3/4 to 3 and 4 inch paddle tail swim baits through that surfacing action. Kawakani with Matt Cartwright. Lake's about 15 inches low, 86 degrees, and 90 by noon. The fish are moving really fast, so Matt says the best deal is to troll. Troll deep with a downrigger, Alabama rigs, and big swim baits. And if you want the sand bass, the troll across the main lake points with like tail spinners and small slab spoons, but you want to be trolling. Here's a really cool pic of a bunch of nice fish that Matt Cartwright put together.
All right, man. Thank you for the pictures. Great report this week. Thank you so much, Mike. We're going to go and take a look at the Upper Fresh hotspots from Mike's region. He says that we're going to start off bass fishing in Lake Athens is offering some great topwater action. The fish are offshore and schooled up big time. The top waters like the Berkeley Bullet Pop and Jaywalkers in the shad color are working best. This bite sounds like it's continued for the next several weeks and will likely even get better as it begins to cool down.
All right, well, we're seeing how the Startron Middle Fresh region is getting their paddle on next. But first, Dave and Colin are giving us a paddle performance for rigs and techniques at the workbench.
Yeah.
You too.
You know, you usually wind up getting a little wet in the surf, don't you, Colin?
A little bit.
A little more so than in the bay.
It's a water sport, so more so than the bay.
Let's talk about that, how to stay dry.
Yep.
Or
In the elements.
Try
We'll be back.
to stay dry.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Ameritrail. Load, launch, relax. Fenwick. Feel everything. Bahio Sunglasses. Blue light blocking. Radically clear lenses. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy. Fishing for adventure. Berkeley. Your fish, our science. And Skeeter Performance Fishing Boats. Eat, sleep, fish.
Well, we're here at the workbench, going to talk a little bit about some rigs and techniques, and it's paddle day. So we're going to talk also a little bit about taking the kayak out into the surf, which is a little bit different than the stealthy kind of sneaking up on a redfish type of thing that we usually talk about. It's a little bit more technical, a little more damp.
Yeah, our guides kind of touched on it a little bit. I like that Bink mentioned, you have many different purposes as to why you'd want to go beyond the breakers.
Right.
He was talking about going to the second break, putting a shark bait out, or you can go out and catch the big bull reds.
Well, there's tarpon out there.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can catch.
King mackerel to catch, and even red snapper if you get out there far enough.
Yeah, and I think that the one thing that's the most important thing you have to do before even thinking about going out there is making sure you have all your safety equipment in check. Mike McFarland touched on it. Always have your PFD.
Yep, you gotta be wearing that.
That's the most important thing. And then especially with it being Labor Day weekend, you want to have a visibility flag, and this is one that I really like to use because for storage purposes, it comes apart like this. You can strap it up, put it away.
People need to see you.
Yeah. VHF radio is really important, especially if you're going out alone, which I don't recommend. Always go with a buddy.
Always try to have a buddy, that's for sure.
Agree on a channel, get out there so you can communicate with each other. A headlamp's good if you're going out before the sun comes up. And then a dry bag is super important.
Yeah. It's always good if you hook up with a big fish to call your buddy and say, hey, man, I got a big one on. Come on over here. Because that's usually when things mess up.
That's usually when things can go wrong, too.
Yeah.
And then obviously I forgot this part right here, the rod leash. Paddle leash is super important. If you do flip, it's okay maybe if you lose a rod or two, but you don't want to lose your paddle. So absolutely strap in your paddle while you're heading out there.
I gotcha.
So the next thing you want to do is there's no shame in putting your kayak in a pool and practicing getting in and out of it. Like, you're going out in the surf, it's inevitable that there's going to be times where you do fall in.
You're going to flip it.
It's a matter of, can you get back in?
Exactly.
So it's okay to put your kayak in a pool, practice doing that, take it to the beach without your fishing equipment, and just practice maneuvering in the surf.
And then once you do take all your equipment, make sure that it's stuff that you can flip over and get back.
Yeah.
Make sure you keep it in something that's not going to get it wet and that you can retrieve it very easily.
Right.
I made that mistake a couple of times when I first started. That you bring too much stuff, and if you make that flip, then that stuff goes down.
Yeah, you want to travel light. I usually bring like 2 or 3 rods maximum.
Right.
I see guys go out there with like 8 rods, and I'm just like, ugh. That sounds like a scavenger hunt at the end of the day, and I'm not about that.
Well, unless you got 8 leashes, you'll look like an octopus if you flip that thing over.
Right. So next thing, once you're ready to go out there, the important thing you want to do is bring your kayak up to the water and just sit back for a few minutes, watch the waves, get an idea for the interval, when the break point is, and then
Kind of like a surfer would do.
Just like a surfer would do, but also add a few seconds to that because you want to give yourself time to get your kayak position, get in, get your paddle, and start getting that momentum because you do not want your kayak to turn parallel to the wave. You always want to be perpendicular, bow into the breaker, because if a wave does come and break on you, you're not going to flip, you're just going to get wet, and that's what we were talking about.
Right.
You're going to get wet, it's a water sport, don't worry about that part.
What were you talking about, the scuppers earlier?
Yeah, and a big mistake that I see a lot of people make is they put their scupper plugs in
Trying to
thinking that's going to keep them dry. I'm like, this is a water sport, guys. Don't do that. They're there for a reason. Pull them out so the water drains if you do take on a wave.
Right.
So once you're out there, once you're fishing, you got to keep in mind that you're trolling. You are slow trolling all day. You're fighting a current. So you're going to get exhausted by the end of the day. And if you do catch fish that you're bringing back, your kayak's going to be heavier. So
It's going to add weight.
yeah, a whole other ball game is coming back in because it's a lot different than going back out. Your back's turned to the wave. There's a couple different methods that
Conditions can change during the day.
Conditions can change, waves can get bigger, the wind can pick up. There's a few different methods that I like to use that I've done in the past. The first thing that I've done is a drift sock. So it's kind of similar to a sea anchor that you would have on a boat. They do make them specifically for kayaks, they're a little bit smaller. You can strap it to the back. So what'll happen is as you're paddling back to shore, if a wave does pick you up, the sea anchor or the drift sock, you can use a bucket as well, will pull your kayak back so you don't take a nosedive and you won't tumble.
Yeah, which you don't want.
Yeah, so that's method number one. Method number two, and this is the one that I practice mostly, is paddle backwards.
Okay.
You know, before you get to the breakers, turn around, take your time, paddle backwards. When you see a wave getting bigger and it's about to break, use that momentum to put the bow right into it, and then just take your time and slowly get back to shore.
That way you can always keep attacking.
Yeah.
All right, you got about 45 seconds to tell me the last one here.
The last one is one that a lot of people avoid. I've done it once. I don't like doing it, but it does work. If it's really bad, conditions are nasty, you can jump in, hold on to the back of your kayak, and just kind of ride it like you're boogie boarding. Go surfing.
That's probably how I would end up doing
Sometimes
it.
the conditions
I might start with the back pedal.
The conditions get bad, and that's actually an effective method, but it's like last resort.
It might be my first or second resort.
Well,
because
some people don't like jumping in. You know,
I'm buoyant. So.
Wow.
Rick, would you do method number 3?
Absolutely not. That
your
is too
shark bait
close
out?
to being trolled like a ballyhoo.
Ah, you put your shark
You
bait
wouldn't
out.
even put the kayak in the
Make
water.
no mistake about it, guys. You ain't gonna see me doing the mamby-pamby thing behind the kayak. No, sir. No.
We'll troll a Rick Murphy.
Absolutely
we'll catch
not.
a ton of fish.
Did I tell you no?
Yeah.
We ain't gonna do it.
Got it. All right. If you're thinking of hitting the water this weekend, paddle in hand in the Star Trek Middle Fresh region, our guide Matt Loescher has the info you're going to need. Go for it, Matt.
All right, Brie. Fortunately, we don't have to worry about fighting the big waves up here in the Middle Fresh region. Usually using our kayaks in some much calmer waters. So, and it's a lot of fun. You know, paddle fishing in general has become much more popular here over the last decade or so. And our lakes and rivers offer great access to some really premier fishing opportunities without the need for a motorized vessel. So it's great. And, you know, when we talk paddle here, generally it's a kayak. There's not much paddle boarding and stuff like that going on. And I have two favorite ways that I like to use the kayak for fishing success. And the first is accessing tight areas like your backwater ponds and your brushy flooded areas where it can be really tough or maybe even impossible to get a bigger boat into. And a great example of that right now that comes to mind is Lake O.H. Ivy. I spent a lot of time there this spring, and I can tell you, those salt cedar bushes that are around the perimeter of that lake are almost impossible to access, to get into with a larger boat. But with a kayak, man, you could just slip right in those areas, fish water that hasn't been touched by other anglers probably at all. And another way to find great success in a kayak is to fish the tributaries that feed into our reservoirs. You can find great fishing way upstream in some of these tributaries where the boats rarely access, if at all. For example, you can find access points from like a bridge or maybe a small dirt boat ramp or, you know, just something like that where a road crosses a large creek or a small river. further upstream than where the larger vessels ever go. And because they're accessing from all the way back downstream from the lake at the nearest boat ramp, you can have a blast catching fish that other people just never get to. And so they're much easier to catch, and it can be a lot of fun. And then, of course, all of our lakes in the Middle Fresh region offer a lot of great fishing, whether you're out on the big lake or up in these tributaries. And you can look to lakes like Toledo Bend that offer lots of boat ramps that give really easy access to almost any part of the lake you would like to paddle. So you don't have to travel quite as far by paddle. It's not going to wear you out quite as bad. You can maximize your fishing time. And if you need to rent a kayak, there's places for that too. Right here at our place at LTD Marina on Toledo Bend, we have that for you. We have rentals. So if you need to go try it out like that, come see us. I hope that all helps you on your get more successful on your next paddling adventure there.
All right, tell us about the bass.
To our bass report, and we're going to keep it to just bass this week for sake of time. Starting off with Toledo Bend. The bass here are still doing their typical summertime stuff. The water has continued a slow, steady decline in level. It's about 3 feet below full now, and the water temperature is holding in the low 90s. The bass are schooling some, mostly up in the shallow areas around the grass. About 8 to 15 feet of water just outside of the matted vegetation is where I'm seeing that. And then out on the main lake, the fish are staying in about 10 to 20 feet of water out on the ends of the long, flat ridges. Carolina rigs and Texas rigs have been the best this week, and watermelon red has been the most consistent color to put on the plastic on those rigs. Now, moving over to Sam Rayburn, I'm hearing that the grass bite is really hot over there lately. Those fish are really stacking up in certain areas in the grass, out on those points of grass and things with that water falling. It's kind of a typical deal when the water gets just insanely hot, this time of the year. Those fish love to hide out in those shady grass mats. And that's where that Bassus Has and skunk ape really shines. This is an awesome bait for dropping through that thick stuff. Put it on whatever size weight you need to get down in through that mat. I like to use darker colors for this and pair it with a big straight shank hook. Basically your typical punching rig. And for that pattern, you're just going to have to put your head down and start covering ground. Just start covering water. Flip a lot of that grass. Keep going down that line of grass until you find them. But when you find them, it's really rewarding because you can catch a lot of big ones. A lot of big fish are caught this way, and you can get into a fun little school of them. Now, you can also get out deeper on Rayburn and drag that old faithful Carolina rig around on the points and ridges right now. You'll want to look at the mouth of the creeks and the drains for the thicker concentrations of shad and drag around in about 10 to 20 feet of water for that pattern. Now, last but not least, real quick, Richland Chambers. Mr. Thurman Selman up there at Bass Specialty Guide Service, he's always staying on the bass, even when the conditions are tough. And he tells me that this week it's more of the same. The bite is slow, but you can still catch some on the creek bends and the docks and the shaded areas. And he says the big RSB worm by Bass Assassin is his go-to right now. But he mentioned that some fish are also being caught on deep diving crankbaits just above the thermocline in about 12 to 15 feet of water. Good luck out there this weekend.
Great report there, Matt. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Rodan Marine Systems region. He says the bass are holding in the typical summertime areas such as grass, shady docks, and deep structure. Carolina rigs and Texas rigs have been most productive with an occasional crankbait or topwater bite. The shad are the key, so look for the areas that are loaded with them.
Loaded. All right, we've got an exciting Labor Day promo coming from Rodan Marine Systems. From September 2nd through the 4th, get free shipping. I said free shipping on all motors by using the code RMSTXinsider, which you can see there on your screen. So if you're in the trolling motor market, now is the perfect time to grab one of these babies.
That's right. And if you can't remember that, certainly you can go to the Texas Insider Fishing Report website. We'll be running this promotion through the weekend, so they can check it out.
Perfect. All right, well, coming up is the Fish Bites Upper Coast and Lower Fresh regions. They're giving us some paddle pro tips for your holiday weekend on the water, so stay tuned. But first, make sure to take a look at the QR code on your screen and scan away for an all-access pass to our social media outlets where you can like and follow our Instagram and Facebook pages, plus see new fishing adventures, tips, and reports. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Captain Rick Murphy, and you can also catch that promo there from Rodan. We'll be right back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Berkeley, your fish, our science. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. Tin Cup, Mountain Whiskey. Shallow Sport, the Texas legend. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. And Penn, let the battle begin.
My POWERPOLE shallow water anchors make it a lot easier for catching bait, and that's something I do 9-10 months out of the year for my fishing charters. First thing I like to do is observe which way the wind's coming from before I set the boat up and put my POWERPOLEs down to catch bait. I use my POWERPOLE to anchor the boat up current from the flat or the drop-off edge where the bait is holding. I start throwing a little bit of chum out to bring the bait in close to the boat. POWERPOLE holds me in position the entire time I'm doing this. It's even easy to throw the net off the back of the boat because the POWERPOLE anchors are down and out of the way when I deploy them. Best part is when I'm done, I can rinse the boat off, raise the POWERPOLE anchors, and move on. You know, before POWERPOLE, I used to have to drag a muddy anchor rope, chain, and anchor into the boat. Not anymore. POWERPOLE, swift, silent, secure. And that's your POWERPOLE tip.
Swift, silent, secure.
That's
for
Captain
sure.
Page.
That's Captain
You know?
Page right there with lots of tips from
He's
POWERPOLE.
swift, silent. I don't know about that.
secure. No, I don't think so either. But we love him anyway. There are a lot of positives that come from picking up a paddle in the Front Runner Boats Upper Coast region. So let's see what they are. Captain Carl Weston. Hi, Carl.
Hey, guys. Hey, man, I'd like to say, you know, every year paddle fishermen show up in our area with these new upgrades, and they really level up the fishing game with these paddle, kayak, fishing vessels. You know, they got an array of cool stuff on these boats nowadays. Like, they got dry boxes. You can keep your Bahio sunglasses, your Scoozy shoes in, your phone, you know, your fish bites, Berkeley, whatever you need, you can keep dry, which is really cool. You know, Sea Sucker also makes some really cool products they can mount on your kayak or paddleboard, make life easier, such as the suction cup cell phone mount, which is really neat. You can video yourself pulling in fish hands-free. Really neat. I have to say I'm a little jealous because back in the day, didn't have any of these luxuries fishing a kayak or a paddleboard, canoes and kayaks. You know, they're the new trendy style fishing here, and they've always been a lot of fun. Now, the up close and personal is definitely a positive with paddle fishing and how close you can get to these fish. Now, the negative might be how close these fish can get to you guys, because they got a lot of sharp teeth, and you're trying to keep your balance when you're reeling the fish in. So, you know, the accessibility to most of the fisheries here in the Upper Coast with a paddle boat is really neat. It gives you a great advantage. You're able to fish around these lighted docks at night, which is a lot of fun. You can maneuver in and out, tight spot. Maybe the most appealing part today would be the fuel costs. You know, a zero fuel bill is great, and you can spend some more money on those new Penn reels. Low cost and upkeep, no storage fee. That is a real plus. I have to consider why I have a power boat. So you can get in those nooks and crannies where those big fish are. Sometimes we can't get with a boat, and it's just really neat. So, guys, but please be careful out there. Watch for the bigger boats. You're harder to see. You're a low-profile vessel. And make sure you wear your PF, you know, your personal flotation devices out there. Just stay safe. I don't know why Natasha did this, but I got a picture today of really a throwback when all we had was a paddle, paddling around with my nephew going fishing.
Nice.
So,
Oh, cute.
Oh, man, look at that goatee now. Come on now. Where'd that guy go?
Billy Ray? Oh, is that you?
Oh,
Just
man,
kidding.
Carl. All right, bub. Let's see what you got for some trout. Let's get off that picture
Hey.
quick.
It's amazing how the trout they're continuing to rebound, Rick. Another summer after that cold freeze we had. Catch and release for a lot of anglers has been a positive for our fishery. And even if the rules change a little bit, I say, you know, we keep doing this. Just keep what you're going to eat. And, you know, the trout are running in the early mornings along the oyster reefs over in Galveston Bay. Been catching a lot of them over there this week. Natural bait's going to be your best bet. Shrimp on a popping cork, as I said, this year has been the favorite. That Bass Assassin or Fish Fight Club about as close as you're going to get to live bait, and they work as well. Our inshore guys like to rig, both of these baits on a 1/4 ounce jig head. Be mindful of the size limits, and as Tag CCA Star Tournament as well. Stay super hydrated. Keep that Taco Marine shade fin up. It's just been so hot lately in these triple digits. It's a killer. We had a picture today of a buddy of ours, Captain Fern, with a beautiful catch and release red tagged trout.
That's beautiful. All right, what else we got?
Tilefish. Hey, this is definitely our front runner favorite. Just like the front runner boats, these calm seas and the current being a lot less lately is just a recipe for success deep dropping. We're out in 7 to 1,400 foot, and the current will kill you. So if it slacks off a little bit, it makes life so much easier. Now, if you're hand cranking from these depths, I would go with like a 2-speed 10, 50 wide. It's still going to be an arm workout, but you'll get up there a lot quicker. Always the electric, real option. Either way, tilefish, guys, some of the best station fish in the upper coast. Get out there, get them in the boat. Now, rigging for these depends on the size of fish you're targeting. I usually start with a 5/0 R&R tackle tilefish rig. They're a 4 to 5 foot hook setup. My bait of choice is I use squid and cut bait fish, tipless fish bites, as I've said all year. And if you see the bite, don't jump on it right away. Give it a few seconds and work it up, bump it up, bump it up. You'll have a chance of catching 2 or 3 fish. And like I said before, these things are delicious paired with a chilled glass of that 10-cup whiskey we were talking about. They taste like butter and melt in your mouth. Trust me, this is a reward well worth it, guys. And today I've got a picture of my friend Corey with a really nice tilefish he caught this week.
Quickly on the Dorado, Bub, you got about 25 seconds.
Okay, we got schools of Dorado right now are hanging out in the broken weed patches out about 50 to 60 miles, trolling those weed lines with islanders in the green and yellow, about 7 knots. I got some baits closer to the boat, like 50 feet back. Some of the R&R tackle lures are working well in the spreads. I was going to go over a few things. I know we're a little close on time today, but these Dorados spawn after they're 21 inches long, and they spawn a couple times a year. It is a fast-growing fish. That's why our fishery is so great. They're in the pompano family, and they're great for tacos. And once again, Corey made the top 2 here with another picture of a Dorado. Thank you, Corey, for the beautiful pictures this week.
All right, bud. Thank you so much. Look at Corey trying to hold on to that little baby Dorado with his teeth. All right, man. We're going to go ahead and take a look at Carl's Upper Coast Hotspots. He says, in short, target trout in the Galveston Bay Oyster Reef during the early morning bite while staying cool under the Taco Marine shade fin. And then offshore, Golden Tile. Try with a 5/0 R&R deep drop rig, 4 to 5 hook setup. Tip them with cut bait and fish bites at 700 to 1,400 depths along the drop-off and the ridges.
All right, now we have Matt Reed in the lower fresh region on the line, and he's giving us the paddle 411 to get you out on the lakes and rivers catching. Go for it, Matt.
All right, let's kick this thing off. There's a ton of neat options these days when it comes to access to the water with canoes or kayaks. You want to check your area of rivers and lakes for anywhere that you can hit the water with public access. There's a bunch of rivers that have a scenario where you have an entrance place and a takeout destination downstream. Those are cool, float trips and that type of thing. There's multiple species for you while you're taking it for the taking in nearly every river. You want to downsize your presentation to small spinnerbait, small crankbaits, to soft plastics, and you'll put a smorgasbord of fish on board. Your largemouth bass, white bass, panfish will all keep you very entertained. As for lakes, you want to look for out-of-the-way backwater areas with limited big boat access to up your odds of success. Shallow water techniques are your friend. Frogs, topwaters, and plastics around any visible cover should produce some awesome bass. No big boat, no problem. Grab your canoe or kayak and enjoy the outdoors. I got a buddy that 2 pictures there of my buddy who is big into kayak fishing. Joe always has a ton of action shots with fish from his kayak.
Nice.
Good job.
Let's move on down to the largemouth.
All right.
Falcon Lake bass are rewarding us most days. I'm starting each trip on mid-depth rock with a like a quarter-ounce shaky head. Green pumpkin generals and magnum trick worms and plum apple have been the preferred plastic on them. Later on, I move out to that 12 to 20 feet of water and concentrate on the rock ledges or the man-made brush piles. I've caught a lot of big ones recently on a ton of variation of presentation. You want to start off with the standard Texas rig, Carolina rig, but I've also had success lately on hair jigs, crankbaits, drop shots, and many other things. When you see a group of fish on your electronics, stay with them, change baits, and you'll get some more bites. Mike Bates sent me a report from Choke Canyon. He said not much has changed. Got some rain this week, and it's just limited, how fast the lake's dropping. It slowed that down from the evaporation. Early morning bite is still the best. Lasts till about 9 o'clock on most days. Top waters, chatterbaits, swim baits are working. Most of the bass these catches are 2 to 3 pounders with an occasional 5 or 6 pounder thrown in. If the wind is blowing, that bite can last all the way to noon. If not, it's a struggle. If you can, plan your trips to cloudy days. That'll give you a longer bite window because that afternoon bite offshore just really hasn't been happening there lately. Fayette County is still fishing a bit tough. Forego the shallow bite and move on out to the deeper points, road beds. Carolina rig stick baits and heavy shaky heads are the most productive way to catch them right now. If you can see them on your electronics and they will not cooperate, pick up a big flutter spoon and try to fire them up. A lot of times that change-up will get them going and you can catch several of them. Brian Cotter sent me a report from Lake Decker. The bass are schooling in the open water on the lower end of the lake. Look for that surface activity and you fire, clear or shad-colored top waters at them. Small swim baits in the melee has been generating fast hookups. Just take that bait where you see them, get it into the surface activity as quick as you can. After they go down, nowadays, your forward-facing sonar will tell you where they are. Let your swim bait sink down to the level of them. You want to keep it right above them and slowly reel it through the school, and you will continue catching those fish for as long as you can stay on them. Got 2 bass pictures this week. The top one is one of my favorite things of all when I get a youngster in the boat. You got Edgar Jr. and Edgar Sr. there on the top with an 8-pound plus that the little one got to reel in. That's just tons of fun. Then I've got Pistol there with another Falcon special. So lots of big ones have hit the deck lately. It's been hotter than Hades, but it's been well worth it.
So, Brie, I want to inform you and I want to inform all the viewers of the Texas Insider Fish Report that I have booked Matt Reed for October 5th with my good buddy Pat Ellers from Milwaukee Fly Fishers, and we're going fishing and try to catch one of those Falcon specials ourselves.
I am so excited for this to happen. It's been a long time coming. No more shaking heads from you. You're going to get your very own bass.
I hope.
A big one.
All right.
All right.
We're trying.
Promise.
Got it.
Okay. Should we take a look at the hot spots?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's look at the hot spots. I forgot all about them. I was so excited about going fishing. Way to catch. Decatur Lake bass are schooling on the main lakes. Get your jaywalker, jerk shad, or small swim baits ready to fire into the surface activity. And after they go down, use your forward-facing sonar to trick them and keep on them catching. Tons of action to keep you entertained, Brie. Good
you
catch.
have bass brain. That's what you have.
I'm so excited.
All right, if you love Yamaha, Yamaha is loving on you during Yamaha's Summer Sunset Sales Event. Get up to 5 years warranty coverage on a boat package with eligible new 30 to 300 HP outboards, or get up to 7 years on a boat package with eligible 425 HP outboards. Purchase an eligible 2.5 to 25 HP model and receive up to a $300 dealer credit. Visit your Yamaha dealer today if you have any questions on that, right, Mary?
That's right.
That's right.
I let my personal get in the way of my professional.
That's all right. The Lower Coast region is up next, but first, we have the new products at the workbench with Dave Farrell. Dave is looking pretty good over here.
Yeah, cool. Night vision. Keep you from stubbing your toe in your scoozy there.
Ooh,
That's it.
And I see my soldados over there. Bajillos, there
Very
they
nice.
are.
Very nice.
That's my fave. We'll be back.
The Texas Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Abu Garcia, fish to win. Fenwick, feel everything. Diamond Fishing Products, our reputation is on the line. Island Lures, tournament tackle. Turn on the bite anytime. Tie on a Miro lure. Front Runner Boats, performance-built offshore fishing boats made in the USA. And Startron, start, run, and store with Startron.
Well, it's time to troll the edge with Taco Marine, and we're talking about new products
Trolling
here,
the edge.
Dave. Speaking of taco, let's just start with
Start right there. We're gonna with the deluxe Trident rod holder. That's the offset version. Really cool way to turn one rod holder into 3, and this is a great way to, if you're going to do any kite fishing or if you're fishing live baits off outriggers, you can put this in the middle of your boat and have 3 rods in one spot, and you can, compact and be able to watch all your stuff really easily. And this has a 9 3/4 inch flared holders that'll fit, big tackle. You can put 50s, 80s, 130s in there if you want to, and a 1.5 inch. I guess you'd call that a slot there that'll fit into all the rod holders that you want to fit it in. And it's really cool because it's got the little notches for your gimbal, and you can put it wherever you need to position it. It's also got a nice little thing here for your lanyards to hold on. You put your safety lines on there,
right
on that camel toe there. So that'll keep everything straight.
So guys, it makes it real simple. You always have that rod holder back there towards the transom. Just stick it in the rod holder. Now this is inside of your gunnel, and you have your gunnel to lean into while you're fishing your 3 rods.
Right.
Whether you're bump trolling for kingfish or whatever it may be.
Yep, and it comes with a 3-inch. It comes with that little strap there and a warranty as well. Next,
where to go? TacoMarine.com.
Correct. Next, we have the Scoozy Stingray sandals there from ScoozyShoes.com. Those are the
favorite.
gray and the navy right there. They have sizes 8 all the way up to 15, and they're wide ones as well. Just a nice look to them. They have really nice padding on the bottom, on the sole, and this is all genuine leather up top, so they're really nice and full grain leather. It's really nice and soft for your feet. But they still have an arch though.
Yes.
You still feel a good arch in there, and the bottoms are super sticky.
Right.
Just today with all the rain, I went to go and come into the office, and it was a lot of rain had splashed in there, and I got ready to think, oh boy, I'm going to slide. Didn't slide at all. It really surprised me how sticky they were, and they all also float as well. So
Scoozy
Shoes.
ScoozyShoes.com.
ScoozyShoes.com.
So guys, if you wear a 9.5, order 9s because they run just a click big.
There, next we got the Bahio readers. These are the rose gold Solado. Bahio. These also have the reading sunglasses inside, and they're available on all frames. These are just in this one. I think they made these special for Brie.
If you zoom in here, you can see they have a magnification.
Yeah, these are their reading glasses.
Correct.
Great clear lenses for all your other stuff, but these are great for when you want to tie some knots or do some, little work. And if you need reading glasses, these are the ones to get. They have powers of 150, 200, and 250. So, whatever power you need, they will make them special for you. In whatever frame you want, and whatever lens color you want, the green mirror, blue mirror, or the rose mirror, or even just the gray. Just, really nice. And you can't see, the bifocals are built into the back of the glass, so you really can't see them at all from the front.
That's correct.
Yeah, they look really nice. If you have a problem with it. They block 95% of the blue light as well.
Right.
So, you guys are twinsies
Last thing to go.
Next, we have the Black Oak LED Nitron XD Marine Night Vision Camera.
Right.
And this is a highest resolution possible. It's crystal clear imagery, even in pitch black darkness. It doesn't use thermal temperatures, so it connects easy to all your monitors, Garmin, Simrad, Raymarine. It's practically plug and play. You plug a hole in here and plug it into the video, and there it goes. You can see everything. So you see a lot more than just a silhouette. You can see really sharp detail at night. And, and a really good thing about it is it doesn't matter if it's raining. or, it gets wet, heavy seas, these can be immersed in 3 feet of water for 60 hours. So just getting splashed isn't going to hurt them all.
Correct.
And, these things just turn the night into day, which is a great thing if you're wanting to go fishing at night.
The cool part is 60 frames a second.
There you go.
60 frames a second.
They're virtually indestructible as well.
They're great cameras. Where do we go to buy it?
BlackOakLED.com.
All right, man.
60 frames. These frames, they're soldados. by the way.
Soldados.
This is the green Marylands. Okay. Last but not least, it's time for the Lower Coast region with Captain Chad Kinney. How's the fishing, Chad?
It's been great. Tell you what, we've got good weather, and we've got a lot of good weather coming up. See lighter winds, which is normal this time of year. So got some good stuff inshore and offshore going on. September 9th coming up, Wahoo Classics coming out of South Padre Island. So that's going to be a good one. We'll be down there fishing that deal. We're going to talk about some good weather, so it's a good time to get the kayak and go paddling out there. It's a great time of year right now. You can actually go down the beach from Corpus Christi halfway to Mansfield. You can go off the beachfront right there in your kayak if you feel like doing that. You can target the bait balls, which are out there right now. They've got kingfish. They got some tarpon kind of mixed in there too. Be careful. There is, some sharks mixed in with those bait balls also out there. In the bay system here, the winds are subsiding a bunch, which is normal here through October. It's really easy access to launch your kayak and paddle on out there to the spoil islands, and you get to the cuts from there. Lots of good trout on those spoils. There's redfish mixed in there, some flounder. It works really good. If you're kayaking out of Port Mansfield here, there's a south boat launch. We actually got specifically for that, for airboats. You can actually just launch there, park your truck with your trailer, launch it off your truck, go there, just paddle out it's probably only less than 1.5 miles, 2 miles right east of there. There's a good spoil island right there, and there's plenty of good action on that bar right there at the long bar. Speaking about long bar, South Padre Island, also paddle out there from Holly Beach out to the long bar. Is really good steady action on trout going on right there. Just remember, before you leave, whether you're boat or you're paddling out there, just definitely check your weather, your winds, the forecast of it, because you don't want to be out there and you get caught in some high winds out here trying to make it back to the dock there. And then talking about inshore, the trout bite, we've been talking about it all season, still talking about it because it's been good. It's 3 to 5 foot of water they're still holding in those grass beds. Also along the ICW there. Live croaker still working really good. But also we've been throwing some soft plastics more often now. The saltwater assassin sea shad's been working really good on the soft plastics. These lighter winds also in the mornings, we've been tying on some mirror lure Top Dog Juniors. They've been working really good, especially in the morning, like I said, real slow retrieve, walk the dog like that. You're going to have plenty of blow-ups in action. And just a reminder on the regulations come up here. We're going back to the old regulations, September 1, so this weekend will be open for 5 trout, 15 to 25-inch slot size, 1 over 25. Starts the new regulations again, so there's plenty of those slot fish out there. Just keep in mind, maybe keep what you want for dinner and release the rest to keep our fishing, our real healthy fishery out there. Got a picture here of a trout there. There's a little slot fish with Emmett McBride. He's never been saltwater fishing, so I took him out there and he got that one.
That's nice.
Moving over to offshore. Offshore conditions have been improved, or always are this time. I talk about all year long. It's really good. Blackfin tuna are out in the deep shrimp boats. There's some dorado also out there like that. And if you're heading out deeper the canyon and farther up to the floater rigs, there's been some blue marlin being caught out there. So blackfin tuna, they show back up in the shrimp boats. They're not in huge numbers, but they're definitely there. We've been using some Penn Internationals, 30 wides up to 50 wides, using 30 to 50 pound mono and stuff like this. The reason we're using up to 50 wides once in a while, you're pulling the blue off these guys. So you might want a little bit heavier tackle like that. Pulling 3 lines makes it easier, quick turns around these boats when you're hitting the shrimp boats. We've been running the Savage lures in our flat lines, which swim perfect, and those things are really durable. And I think what helps too, it keeps the smaller fish away from us. So like your bonita and all of those stuff will go away, but the tuna will come in and attack it. And then down the middle, we're running a daisy chain rigged with islanders. Works perfect, all like this for all the species, especially on those shrimp boats. And so we got a picture here. You can see that Savage lure in there, but a nice big old football blackfin tuna there. And heading out deeper, we've been talking about the floater rigs. Moving out there, some blue marlin action, from the canyon on out. But get those floater rigs. Now's the time to go take advantage of that. If you do head out there for some marlin, definitely go to your 50 to 80 wide Penn Internationals for a full spread. Bigger islander lures rigged with some ballyhoo works great. On your flats, you can pull some chuggers, mid-range on your riggers out there. And there's been a drill ship from Perdido, about 8 miles from Perdido, which really helps to work in 2 locations. You control about an hour in between those 2, which works really good. Early morning bite's been really good, so hit that, or late in the evening. They got a beautiful picture here that Jimmy Burns of Florida the Rods let me go ahead and share there out the rig there.
Wow, that is a cool picture. Way to go, Chad. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the shallow sport boats, hotspots from the Lower Coast region. Chad says inshore good numbers of trout in the lower coast and 3 to 5 feet of water along the ICW. On September 1st, the trout regulations, guys, goes back to 15 to 25 inches with 1/25. And then offshore, the conditions have been good. Tuna out deeper and billfish action out on the floater rigs. You know what? It's, in my opinion, it's only my opinion, but guys, you don't need to keep a 25-inch trout. If you want to have great trout fishing to come, look how quickly it's recovered by only taking 3 and not being able to take that big one.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. Conservation is what's going to make your fishery bounce back, as well as make it the best trout fishing in the world. And Texas should be able to have that title. Don't you agree, Dave?
It's amazing what just a little break can do for a fishery. It really is.
Amen. Praise the fish load. Happy Labor Day, everybody. It's going to be a great weekend. Rick, congratulations. Your son is getting married.
I know.
Everybody stay safe, and we'll see you next week. And go catch those fish.
Bye, guys.